합니다. Please welcome him with a big round of applause to the podium. And for the first keynote speech, welcome.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. My name is Fred Werner from the ITU, and it's a privilege to be here. And I'd like to thank the organizers and the City of Seoul and all the distinguished guests for the opportunity to be here today. Now, for those of you that don't know ITU, ITU is the International Telecommunication Union, and we're the United Nations specialized agency on information and communication technologies. And basically we do three things. We allocate and harmonize radio spectrum and satellite orbits. We develop international technical standards that underpin modern telecommunication networks. And we assist developing countries in bringing up their ICT infrastructure through capacity building, training, and related activities. And we're also unique in the UN family in that we're the only UN agency that has a membership mixed of member states, 193 member states, 900 private sector members, private companies, and also 150 academic institutions. And for example, yesterday we were visiting Hyundai, Samsung. This afternoon we're going to visit the ministry and entry. And these are all examples of members from Korea in ITU. And we're also the organizers of the AI for Good Global Summit, co-convened by Switzerland in partnership with 40 UN sister agencies. Now, before I begin, I'd like to share something with you that came across my desk a few days ago that I think might interest you. So I'd like you to just take a moment and have a look at this image and just try and think, what's going on here? On the left, you have an image. On the right, you have some video. What's happening in this frame? Okay. Now here's another image, a similar setup. You have a photo on the left, some video on the right. What's happening in this image? And one last example, I think you get the picture. So what on earth is going on here? Is this a trailer to the latest Mission Impossible movie? Is this some new spy app from the dark web that you can get? No, it's actually an art project called The Follower. And what this artist did is he recorded 10 days of footage from open camera feeds, which you can find on any public square. There's probably 10 of them outside this building right here. And then he went to Instagram and scraped all publicly available profiles that are geotagged with the same location as the camera on the public squares. And then basically using machine learning tools and open source, he created a match. So now you can see exactly what this football player was doing before he took his glorious Instagram selfie. Now, why am I telling you this? When we created AI for Good in 2017, this kind of technology wasn't widely available. Maybe Google or certain governments had access to this technology and could do things with it. But now you literally have an artist working from his bedroom who can do this, and just a bit of patience, a bit of time and creativity and using open tools, and there you go. Now, is this good? Is this bad? Is this in the gray zone? Well, it depends, right? So in this case, it's a rather creative art project. I kind of like it. I almost think I wish I would have thought about this myself. But it's not hard to imagine how this could be used and abused in the wrong hands. And that's one of the many reasons that we created AI for Good. So AI for Good was built on the premise that we now have less than 10 years to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And AI holds great promise to advance many of those goals and targets. So anything from climate change to education for all, affordable healthcare, gender equity, smart cities, autonomous driving, the use cases are definitely there. And one of the best parts about working for AI for Good is you actually see these use cases coming across our desk almost every day. But how do we know that a high potential AI application works equally well on men or on women, or on persons with different skin colors, or on the young or the elderly, or in low resource settings where basic things like connectivity and electricity are still an issue? So these are not things that occur naturally to the fast-moving tech industry. I think the attitude is more, let's build it and we'll fix it later. But these are things that we do reflect upon deeply at AI for Good. So how do we know what problems to work on? Basically, what's good for me might not be good for you. Different countries, different communities, different organizations have different priorities. And in fact, I think we could all spend all day in this room trying to figure out what is good and not have a good answer. It would probably take all week. But luckily, we don't need to start from scratch, because we have the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to guide us. So 169 targets, 17 goals to be achieved by 2030. And this really acts as our lighthouse and our beacon and our framework for decision making. So whenever we're working on these high potential applications, we don't always have to go back to the drawing board and try and think about what is good. We have this framework right in front of us. So simply put, what is AI for Good? AI for Good, the goal is to identify practical applications of AI, to advance the sustainable development goals, and figure out how to scale those solutions for global impact. And how do we do this? Well, first of all, we can't do this alone. That's why we have 40 UN sister agencies as partners of AI for Good. So that's virtually the entire UN system behind AI for Good, contributing expertise, knowledge, helping with our webinars, building networks, and also, the Verb to learn. And I think you'll recognize quite a few of these logos that might be partners of yours already. Now, the AI experts would say that AI is too important to leave to the experts alone. So great efforts have been to bring as many different voices to the table. So everything from civil society to NGOs, to UN agencies, to industry experts, academic experts, government agencies, international organizations, media, and even the artists and the creatives. They're all there who have a voice to share in charting a beneficial course for AI for humankind. And basically what happened is we created the summit in 2017, and of course it grew exponentially in size every year. And then when COVID hit, we decided to put our program online. And that increased rapidly, and now we're doing something in the order of 150 online events every year, and on top of that, a physical summit. And to support this, we developed a platform called the Neural Network. And this is where all of our online activity is held. And the Neural Network is basically part Netflix in the sense that we have hundreds of AI for Good webinars, expert talks, panels on the platform. It's part dating app, if you will. So you have a smart matching mechanism. So for example, if you say, I need data, I have data, there would be a match. Or I need cloud compute, I have cloud compute, there would be a match. Or I need funding, I have funding. That's actually a very popular one. There would be a match. And then of course it acts as a virtual events platform as well. And we now have 25,000 members on the Neural Network from 183 countries, all sharing knowledge and collaborating around AI for Good. Now, AI for Good is presented on three streams, if you will. So you have what we call Learn, Build, and Connect. And Learn is basically exchange of knowledge, best practice, expertise, discourse on AI topics aligned with the SDGs. Build is where we have our collaboration efforts, and one of them is our Geo AI Challenge, which I'll get into. And then Connect is where we connect online on the Neural Network, but also in person at the physical summit. And one of our claims to fame is that we're action-oriented, and we're more than just a talk shop. And probably one of the best examples of this takes place in our focus groups. So these are pre-standardization efforts, and I like to think of them as, the community working on the building blocks needed to scale AI for Good globally, but also working on all the bottlenecks that are preventing AI for Good problem solving, achieving global scale as well. So here we have a number of our pre-standards efforts in partnership with the relevant UN agencies. So for example, AI for Health with WHO, AI and Natural Disaster Management with WMO and UNEP. And of course, within this group, there's a lot of use cases using satellite images to help map and predict and mitigate natural disasters. AI and digital agriculture, likewise, satellite imagery being one of the key tools combined with AI, big data, and IoT to basically advance the field of sustainable agriculture and food for all. And then a wide range of other topics as well, like 5G and autonomous driving, energy efficiency, and what have you. And also another good example of AI for good in action would be our Geo AI activities. So in 2001, basically we identified a gap in our activities where we saw that there's huge potential where if you combine geospatial Earth observation data with other data sources and then combined with advances in AI and also advances in compute power, which we've seen since 2001 is increasing exponentially, that you have huge potential to solve a lot of interesting puzzles with relation to sustainable development. So some interesting use cases would be, for example, mapping deforestation in real time using satellite data, or, for example, locating schools in developing countries. So actually finding schools and knowing where they are is actually a huge problem in education in low-resource settings. And so what are some of the ways that we collect this information? So if you use the analogy of data being the oil of AI, so obviously maybe the most obvious thing that comes to mind is in the sky, so looking at satellites, looking at aircrafts, looking at drones, optical images and videos, LiDAR, SAR, multi and hyperspectral imagery, GNSS. So those are the use cases that most people bring to mind. But when you start to combine it with different sources, so for example with the introduction video that I showed you, where you had publicly available camera feeds combined with geolocation, combined with social media data, then you get some interesting things that can start to happen. And in that case, it was not an art project, but I think that the challenge to our community would be how can you combine these things for good rather, or to help advance the sustainable development goals. And then here you'll see another, a wide range of other data sources, whether it's government data, social media, points of interest, geotag media, GPS, user reviews, and then basically using the power of AI and machine learning to create links between all of these data sources. And last but not least would be, information coming from water, whether it's on top or below water, using sonar, LiDAR, and different techniques there. So basically to support all this and build a body of knowledge and a community of practice and expertise around this, we can't take for granted that this existed a long time ago. And because it's interdisciplinary and bringing many different groups of people and expertise together, we needed help with this. So I'm just here offering the platform. And the three curators of our Geo AI activities are Maria Brovelli from Politecnico di Milano, and she's here. We connected online. If she's here, maybe she'll raise her hand. There she is. So she's the real expert. I'm just here highlighting her amazing work, and she'll be giving a talk later where I think she can do a deep dive into what we're actually doing on this platform. And then, of course, other colleagues like Nadine Alema from the Open Geospatial Consortium and Barbara Ryan from the World Geospatial Industry Organization. And basically, to support this, we had two streams, if you will. One would be our Discovery series, which is a series of webinars and expert talks to build knowledge around this area, but then also supported by some action, if you will, which in the form of Geo AI machine learning challenges. And basically, this has been presented in a series of webinars since 2001, curated by Maria. And here you can see all the different topics that we've covered. And if you look at a typical university course that might run a semester, 15 weeks, 2 or 3 hours a week, you might end up with about 30 hours of content. But the amazing job that Maria and colleagues did, they've done over 25 webinars, totaling probably 70 hours plus of content. And if you actually put that together, that would be much more substantial than any university course out there that's actually available right now. And because it does combine so many different topics and angles and disciplines, it really is unique and should be seen as a real learning resource for the community. And in fact, at the last Global Summit, Maria put together a session on education in Geo AI. And then that's organized around different, a syllabus, if you will, on Geo AI for developers, for appliers, for decision makers as a body of knowledge. And I believe in the next Global Summit in Geneva, there'll be more on this and how to put that together. So I would put that as a challenge to the community to get involved with this, because this is an evolving area of work. And there's great expertise and knowledge being built around this, and I feel like we've only scratched the surface on the potential of what we can actually do with this to help advance the SDGs. So to support this, we've also launched a series of machine learning challenges on GeoAI, and I just want to play a little video which provides an overview of our 5 latest challenges. Okay, great. And I don't know if anyone here has competed in these challenges, but this is something that we're running each year. And hopefully, if not, then now you're aware and maybe you can get involved in the future. And here you can see basically there's a hyperlink to the challenges, there's a QR code to our GitHub repository. And I almost wish that this event was a few weeks later, because we have the grand finale of all these challenges happening in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and that's where all the most promising use cases will be presented. But I'm sure that this won't be the last time that we're here, and then maybe either you'll see those use cases in AI for good, or maybe we could even bring some of those people to the next edition of this event. And here you just have an overview of the different challenges and the participants, the organizers, how many people participated, the number of submissions and the prize money, and also the number of countries that participated in each challenge. And also what's quite notable is the number of participants from Africa and from developing countries as well. So it really is a global platform. And then here's just a quick overview of the presentation of the finalists who competed in each of these challenges that will be upcoming on our AI for Good platform. So on the air pollution susceptibility mapping challenge, that'll be on December 4th. And then on the cropland mapping, that'll be on December 5th. And landslide susceptibility mapping on December 6th. The location mention recognition, so that's actually the example where you would combine social media data with different data sources and different images sources. That would be on December 14th. And the last one would be on estimating soil parameters from hyperspectral images on December 15th. So you can see there's a huge amount of activity happening here, and that's just a snapshot of the whole AI for Good platform. But again, I would like to reiterate that we are just a platform, and without the experts like Maria and yourselves, it would be nothing. So I would invite all of you to check it out, to participate, to get involved. And if you missed the boat this year, I'm sure we'll be doing another challenge next year as well. And then just one quick date I'd like to highlight is the next Global Summit in Geneva will be on the 30th and 31st of May. And of course, you're all invited. It's a free conference. So all you have to do is sign up and come. And if you can't travel to Geneva, it will be available online. And with that, I would just like to leave you with a final message to, basically leverage the AI for Good platform. So of course, you can attend and learn all our weekly webinars and the physical summit. You can also network with our 25,000 members of the neural network community online. You can also be visible, so you can leverage the network to share your work. Just get in touch if you have interesting work that you think would be featured on the neural network and AI for Good. The only criteria really is somehow you're using AI in an interesting way to advance one or more of the SDG goals and targets. And then, of course, you can collaborate. So we have our machine learning challenges, our startup pitching competitions, our pre-standardization efforts that are all looking for knowledge and expertise from a community like yours. And then, of course, to innovate. So we're always looking for new ideas. And with that, I'd like to thank you all, and I'll be here until noon if you have any questions. And my colleague Guillaume, who's somewhere here, he'll be here all day. So thank you, and looking forward to the next talks.